Everybody, Gavin, late night stream here. Just thought I'd go live for a couple minutes because I know I have not been. What the heck? I feel like I'm zoomed in on myself. I've not been doing it very much. So I've been a little lax on videos. And the truth behind that is that YouTube is really kind of shuffling the really informational videos to the back. And there's only so many hours in a day. So if I'm not getting channel backers, if I'm not getting people ad revenue, money has to go towards other things and projects. And I do have some big projects in the works also lately that I've been working on. Hi, everybody. Sean, Freedom Fighter, and Opie, Public Official Observer, David, Angel Wings, all you guys. Good to see you in there. And some familiar faces. Just thought I'd go live for a couple minutes. It's been crazy because I've been watching all these incidents, the police killing people, the president's trying to start wars, and the tyranny just expanding on every side. And it's sad to watch. It's sad to watch the pain and suffering that people are put through in this crazy, insane, power-driven world that pretends to protect your safety and your freedom. Welcome to not just the USA, but the USA is pretty good at it. #1 terrorist nation on earth, don't forget. But I do have some other videos in the works. I've just had other projects to work on, and I haven't been able to edit as many. In fact, I have an interesting coming up soon from the beach, and I had an interesting encounter with Federales de Mexico. And I think you guys will find this one pretty funny. I'm not gonna spoil it, but stay tuned. Keep spreading the word, spreading those videos. And I do appreciate you channel backers and supporters that are getting on there and backing up the content creators that you like on YouTube, as YouTube continues to find ways to take away the revenue of content creators. Because the reality is, this is happening not just with me, not even just with political people, with people who make children's videos. They've taken all the monetization away because of all the paranoia, like, oh, children are involved, like we can't run ads on that. I mean, it's just constant. It's just absolutely constant. And so it's a very self-destructive, because people are going to stop creating content. Hopefully new platforms will rise from that as we see that self-destructive punishing of content creators. But anyway, shout out to everyone. I just thought I'd go live for a few minutes, give you guys an update. I did post a super short video, like less than 1 minute. It's my shortest video of, well, probably the past like 10 years, okay? And it was just an encounter with the Mexican National Guard where I thought they were searching someone. And so I stopped and checked and just asked them, right? It wasn't a big deal. Pointed the camera, said, hey, what's going on here? Checked it out. Once I realized everything was cool, there was nobody being abused, I let them go. You guys can check out that video on the channel. They were pretty cool about it. But as I've done videos about this in the past, military shouldn't be on the streets. That's not a sign of freedom. That's a sign of drug war tyranny. However, that's not actually my topic tonight. I just wanted to tell you, I was just thinking with this update, I was going to tell you about this dream I had last night, because it's kind of crazy. I have this dream, or not this dream, it's different every time. Okay, and I'm not saying there's any great significance to this or anything. Maybe there is, I don't know. But I just think it's interesting. I think I've mentioned this before, but last night's was particularly interesting. I've been gone. I escaped the USA, like, what has it been? Just over 2 years now. It's like 2 years and 3 months since I escaped the USSA. And with that, I've seen a lot more freedom. I've seen a lot of potential. And I've continued to see the USA in particular, but places all over the world, in continuing collapse because of the USA's tyranny and the nations that are collaborators with the USA's tyranny. It's all about power and control, from the prison system to the police saying, oh, I couldn't do anything else, I had to shoot him, to the bombing of everyone's countries, to the idea that we're better, that we're more American than the rest of America. And congrats to all of you who have escaped, by the way. And there's been more and more. I know since I left, I've seen people escape. I've encouraged and even helped people escape. And I've watched the so-called patriots turn into idol worshipers of the latest fascist Donald Trump. But it's okay, right? It's not tyranny. if red does it. That's the new mantra, because they weren't actually patriots. The people that are still supporting Trump, that are still supporting the police, that are still supporting the troops, they never were actually patriots. They were just state worshipers. And I know there's people in different phases of this, but at this point, you really have no excuse. If you still support these people, it's no different than supporting Obama. It's no different than supporting Bush. It's no different than any of the others. In fact, it's maybe worse, because the recent administrations and the Trump administration is so absolutely blatant about the terror and the abuse and the arrogance and the evil. And so people now that continue to support this regime, they've chosen, just like the Germans in 1933. It doesn't mean that you can't change if you're one of those people. But if you're MAGA 2020 and you're one of the most anti-American people in history, and it's no different than if you were an Obama supporter, it's idolizing. It's saying the state is king, the state is God, and it's saying as long as my people, as long as my criminal friends are in power, tyranny is okay. And that's why the USA is going to continue to decline, because that brainwashing is pretty much complete. And those that are still awake are saying it's time to get out. People say, oh, we're going to stand up for gun rights. Our gun rights were gone a long time ago. I was at the forefront with standing for gun rights. And for a little while, it looked like we might have a stand. But then everybody said, as they were doing it, let's shake hands with the police. Let's thank them for their service. Let's make it about making veterans heroes, and let's wave those flags. And then Trump came along, and that nationalization went full circle. Because once Obama was no longer there to remind people they had the tyranny, once they had an idol, then the tyranny was okay. And so there's going to be no real stand, because at this point, the gun rights were gone a long time ago. Mexico has more gun rights in practice. You've noticed some bad laws, statutes, but in practice, they have more gun rights than the USA, which is ironic, as people run around in guns. You can have guns, but if you dare to use them or even approach using them or suggest using them, you will go to prison. And mark my words, you will be seeing that with what's going on in Virginia. And I empathize and I support people that are standing up for their rights, regardless of where it is. But the problem is most of these people out standing up for gun rights are the same people waving flags, voting for Trump, and wanting to trample the immigrants' rights. So you can never win with that kind of hypocrisy. You're only going to be judged with that kind of hypocrisy. The same people that are saying we want gun rights, we want the Constitution followed, we want our rights respected, are the same people saying violate, disrespect, and trample the rights of everyone else in the world because I'm better than them, and also build a wall and turn my country into New Berlin. You see the discontinuity here? I'm not saying there's not good people standing up for gun rights in Virginia still, and I hope they make it out in time. I really do hope the people that are awake and that are continuing to wake up, don't get me wrong, I don't assume because someone's a state worshiper and they want a wall and they want, more vote harder and vote red and vote Trump and all this stuff. I don't assume because someone is sold out to the deep state that they can't ever come back to that. But it's going to be hard. And I see more and more of you waking up as the word is spread, but it's still a tiny fraction, right? And that's right, Opie. The wall is to keep people in. And I've done a specific video on this. Walls are always to keep people in. And all you got to do is look at history. It doesn't take a genius. You really have to have intelligence, a free thought level that's way down there on the floor to not see what's going on here. And you've had to have your brainwashing really, really well done out at the public schools and the universities and the news media and the TV and all that good stuff, right? But back to the stream, because that was my main topic for tonight. And then we'll wrap up because it's late and I'm going to go relax with my wife for a few minutes. Okay, so despite, and I left the USA because the government is the US government is the number one criminal cartel in the world, Donald Trump included. They are the cartel. The Blue ISIS cartel is the number one terrorist organization in the country. Ace. Appreciate it. And so all of this stuff's going on, right? And I left 2 years ago because I saw the writing on the wall. They were trying to put me away, but I saw bigger things behind the scenes where they might do more than put me away. I've done lots of videos about that. And if you haven't seen them, you can go back on this channel And maybe I'll do some recaps in another video on that for those of you that don't. But there's some pretty good recaps from about a year ago on this channel on that. In my dream last night, and this is a dream that reoccurs regularly. I've lost count of how many times I've had this dream, but it's a different setting. It's a little bit different. In the dream, I'm back in the US, and I have no idea why I'm back in such a place. I'm always kind of baffled, like, why am I here? What am I doing back in my town, right? And in these dreams, I'm always trying to avoid the police and get caught. In this dream, I went to the gun range, and I was like heading out, and I stopped, and some old fans like wanted to chat, right, and ask me some questions. So I hung out, even though I kind of knew that was a bad idea and I should go. I was like, well, I'm going to be polite and hang out and talk. And moments later, in talking to these people, the police were there, and they gleefully called out my name as they rushed up onto this platform we were sitting on, and they're like, "Hey, Gavin," and I could tell they were excited to see me in not a good way for me. So I jumped over the rail and I immediately jumped across, and they tore after me, but I ran to my pickup truck and I got in and barely made it to the truck before they caught me, and I beat feet out of there. And then I was eluding them and trying to escape, and they were trying to catch me. But in the end, in these dreams, I don't usually actually cross the border, but I'm escaping. Usually I get out of their reach, right? But this one was close. This one was too close. And so it's interesting because I've had tons of dreams along these lines. In these dreams, I've never actually been caught by the Blue ISIS psychos that run my country, but almost. Sometimes it's a little more casual, and I don't even get chased. I just kind of carefully skirt around town. Sometimes I even have time to pick up my packages. And all the time, every time I have one of these dreams, I'm like, what am I doing here? I got to get out. I got to get done what I'm doing and get the heck out of here, because I shouldn't be here. It's crazy to be here. And this is like always this reoccurring thought process in my dream. And then I wake up and I'm not there. And I'm like, well, I'm glad that was a dream. What on earth would I have gone back to that hellhole for? And so that's this dream that I had. And when I have these dreams, I keep thinking, like, about all you guys that are still up there. I keep thinking about all the people that hear these videos and think, oh, Gavin's crazy, or maybe Gavin's got some things figured out, or Gavin's really smart. I like that. I agree with that. And so I keep thinking about all you guys up there and how it just gets worse and worse and worse. And when you're on the inside, it's harder to see how quickly it's getting worse because it's more gradual for you. Now that I'm on the outside looking in, it baffles me. It blows my mind that people are willing to tolerate such a society. And I feel like if people could be on the outside looking in, if they could have been that way 30 years ago, our government would have been toppled 30 years ago, right? If you could see how truly evil, if you could see the mindset, even from people that are friends, people that get it, I still see how much it affects them, how much they buy into the propaganda because they're being fed every day. And so they're in this constant battle. You guys are in this constant battle. Say, oh, this time the police were justified in their slaughter and their execution. Oh, this is okay because this is what the law says. That treating the immigrants that way, well, that law has been around since the XYZ Act of 1954. I constantly see people that I think have a spark of freedom and they're justifying something because they're brainwashed every day. They may not be brainwashed in everything, right? And let me clean this up a little bit. That's a little better, maybe not. But you're constantly being accosted with the brainwashing. And so if you do one thing in 2020, get out, at least for a while, so you can really get an outside looking in perspective and see how truly insane the USA is. And you see even in this video, they come out of the woodwork, right? The people that are the paid shills of the government, their job is to tell you and to create noise that the USA has freedom, that it's one of the best places on earth when it's one of the worst places on earth, that it's more peaceful when it's really not, that you're safer when it's not. That's their job. And billions are being spent on this every year to create a narrative in your mind, a constant doubt that maybe, just maybe, you're a little bit cuckoo. You're a little bit out there, and it's not really as bad as the very few radicals like Gavin Syme are telling you. But guess what? It is. It's actually that bad. It doesn't mean that everywhere else in the world is great, that it's all perfect and everything's good. It just means it's that bad there. It's not a place to raise children. It's not a place to have a future. The American dream is gone. The USA is gone. The Constitution is gone. And Trump and his cronies are wiping their rear end on the last shreds of it that are left, which, to be fair, isn't much. So I'm guessing their fingers are getting a little dirty at this point because, well, they've been wiping it for quite a while with those shreds of the Constitution, and there's not much left. So I have dreams like this, and my thought tonight, I made a post on this about my Facebook, about my latest dream, because I just thought it was fascinating, because they really almost got me in this dream. And I thought about you guys, and I thought, well, how many of you will get out? How many of you will make it out? Versus how many will just stay and get trapped behind the wall, and the rest is history, as we've seen happen before, and we know how it ends. At least those of us who've bothered to look and listen to history. In the end, I understand everybody's in a different place, right? And as a believer, I'm like, well, we got to trust God. We got to do the best we can. But that doesn't mean we have to sit still. That doesn't mean we won't suffer if we don't act, that there won't be consequences for staying in Sodom and Gomorrah, metaphorically speaking, right? These are thoughts to think of depending on where you come down. But regardless, don't let anyone tell you, oh, I'm staying because I want to fight for America, right? This is America too. The USA is not America. It's the third world side of America, okay? The USA is something that may have been a great idea, but it failed because the people didn't stand. And no one's bringing back, no one's going to fix the USA. So the people saying, I'm going to stay and I'm going to fight for the USA. The USA is long gone. The Constitution is long gone. And like our founders ran from their homeland to try and make something better, defending freedom, standing by freedom, being a patriot for liberty, isn't about the hunk of land you stand on. It's about what's in here, and it's about loving your neighbor as yourself, and it's about standing up for that. Just some thoughts. I'm going to go, guys. Have a good night. Appreciate the support, the shout outs. I probably said some things that offended you tonight. And while my goal is not to offend you in particular, maybe instead of being offended, just think about it. Just let that sink in. Just set the faction, set the party aside, and look at what's actually happening. Because you can't look at what's happening in the USA and say, we're winning, we're making America great, we're getting better. You can't do that if you erase the color, the faction, and the party from it, and simply look at the evil, the true and unmitigated evil that's going on, that is now called the USA. But it's not the USA anymore. It's not there anymore, guys. That's just a piece of land. That's the regime. It's where the USA used to be. The USA that you read about in history class, in the Constitution, or at least, because in a lot of ways it's been corrupt since the beginning, at least the USA that was promised to you in that American dream story. That one, if it ever was, and there were bits and pieces of it in different places, but it's not there anymore. Okay, guys, peace, stay safe. Escape in time. Doesn't have to be down here. Wherever, right? There's lots of places. Almost every country in the world is more free than the USA. And at least there, despite the fact that there'll still be corruption, you don't have to worry about police shooting you at a traffic stop or your kids being run over because they ran away on their bicycle. That If there's such a thing as a third world country, that's it. Or maybe we should call the USA the fourth world. Something to think about. Resist blue ISIS. Love your neighbor. Peace.